So now, we keep it moving and we go right up to the transition that's going to go from 95 to 115. Now, this is one of the reasons why I like using Studio One, just because it really, really makes it simple for you to create the transition. So this track ends with that same a cappella loop. So I'm just going to move this over, and what we're going to do is just line it up to one of the bars. And because we've already told the software that it's at 95, anytime I make tempo changes to the actual project, it's going to follow. This track is going to follow. So simple way of doing it in Studio One is just going up to the draw tool and just drawing up, depending on how many bars I want. Let's actually do that whole loop. And we want to end at let's actually end at 125. So 125. There we go. So now there we go. So basically it speeds up, and now I can drop in the other track. So the other track that we're going to mix into is going to be Fuego Superestrella. Let's drop that in. And again, with Studio One, it's a lot of just drag and drop. We don't have to worry so much about going to File, Import, and bringing the songs in. Just gonna line it up, make sure it's on the beat. And again, Fuego is at 115 is the original tempo. So here's gonna play at 125. So I'm just gonna cut it there and just duplicate it over so that it can fill up the whole intro. So that's pretty simple, and now I can just go in and add a couple of kicks to kind of do the build-up. I like to use Presonus, the Impact, just because it has a lot of instrumentals, instruments and drum kicks that come with it that are really good. In this case, I'm going to use the Electro Producer Pack. Let's try the Dancehall Madness. It has a really cool kick. That one right there. So, and we're just going to draw it in. Just duplicate that. And then I can just make a little bit of a build up here. And we can do a filter on the vocal, just to kind of filter it out. And get right into a beat delay at the end. Feedback. One of the things that comes with Presonus Studio One is a really good library of like lasers and risers and stuff like that, and that stuff is really good because it'll fill in, and I don't have to go looking for it. I can just search it right on the software. So I'm gonna do just uplifter, and this is all stuff that comes in the library if you have the professional version of Studio One. So these are just kind of, risers that you can put in as you're going upbeat. I like the first one. And just drop it in and then adjust it accordingly to whatever you're doing. It's a simple transition. Again, we're doing this for the radio, so we don't want these really long transitions that take up time, because if you got to think of the listener. If they're tuned in and they're in the car, you don't want this like 2-minute build up just to get to the next song. So this is a quick way to do it, using elements of the original song and then adding a little bit of production from the actual software to get it done and get into the next song right away. So we keep it moving. Now this song is it's the original song, but it has 8 bars in and out, but it's still a little bit long, so we should shorten it down a little bit. Usually what I do is I'll work through a mix sometimes and kind of put things together and then go back and kind of retouch them. So after Micaela here, going out of the outro of Micaela. So basically what I did was I added a kick from Impact. I transitioned up using the tempo, which is really easy to use in Studio One. And obviously the acapella out of Sonora Carruseles is going to go up and follow the tempo. And then I added just a couple of uplifters and sweepers, all that come with Studio One. One of the cool things that I like about the software is you can go into the sounds and just simply search like uplifter, and you'll get different effects that you could just add right in, so I don't have to go into my own library and find where all my effects are. I use a lot of the internal effects that come with it. So I added a crash here also, which is right here, and I added some delay to it. So those are just points so that when the beat drops, you can kind of feel it. If you take it away, it doesn't sound as good. So I'm actually gonna mute it now so you can hear it. So that first beat, you don't feel it as much now with the crash. So those are the small details. I'll go back and add them in after. But sometimes if I feel like the mix is not ready, I'll go in and add it at that time. So now moving forward, the next track is Linda de Grupo Mania. Now here what I did was I actually had to bring the Fuego track and the Grupo Mania into kind of splitting it up and quantizing using the audio bend from Studio One, because the merengues kind of they shift a little bit. It's almost like when you're DJing live and you have to keep hitting the wheel, touching the wheel, because it's kind of bending back and forth. Studio One has the audio bend tool, and you can actually go in and quantize so that it doesn't do that anymore. And I did it here with these two tracks to get them on beat. And here comes the laser. And it goes right into it pretty smoothly. There you can add drops, or if you know DJ is gonna talk, you can have that break, that talking break right there. And I also had to do the same thing to the outro of Grupo Mania. This is an old remix, which was done by a DJ, but didn't really use the metronome, so it's a little bit off. So I had to quantize it. That's where you can see all the bend markers. I'll let you hear it. So now what I did is I had an extended version that was already done of Daddy Yankee La Despedida with an acapella.
Let's go. Sé que me dijiste que el amor existe y su poder hace lo que sea, que cambie la ética, lo olvide.
So that whole piece is a cappella, and we're just gonna overlay it on top of that loop.
Sé que me dijiste que el amor existe y su poder hace lo que sea, que cambie el destino y quédate conmigo porque no soporto el idea. Tu amor a la distancia fortalece la confianza, termina siendo un odiseo. Así es la razón, pero mi corazón va ganando en esta pelea. Y tu recuerdo me está matando hasta la muerte. Aquí estaré esperando. Nunca lo olvides, te sigo amando hasta la muerte. Aquí estaré esperando.
And I like to do that a lot. If you hear a lot of my mixes, I do a lot of sort of mashup style with two different songs. Here at the end, just to get out of the merengue, what I did was just take the last hit, and that actually last hit has one of my favorite reverbs. It's called Open Air. It also comes with Studio One. Has really good plates and great reverbs. And I also added underneath, I added just the, it's called Short Stop Hall. It's just a sort of like an effect. So when you hear them together, and that gives it that sort of stopping sound so that the next track can come in. And it also has an uplifter. So when you hear it together, So we're down to just the last two tracks. We're gonna go right into bachata, and this is something that it's fairly easy when you have some of the pre-done elements. Other times I'll do stuff kind of like with the original tracks. Right now, that what I'm gonna do is use the original track, the Aventura, and go into bachata. So first thing I want to do is pull up the. I'm gonna add another impact because I really like the kick on that Dance Hall Madness right there, and we're gonna add it underneath the Daddy Yankee. Right from there. Start up more. Zoom in. One of the things that I tell people when they ask me about production and kind of getting into it and started is, how did I get into it, or how did I learn so fast? Basically, it's doing it every day. You do this every day and you practice, and also learn the shortcuts. If you learn the shortcuts of a software, you'll get through it and you'll start working, and your whole workflow will speed up the whole process. So definitely, learn all the shortcuts when you start working, and you'll really, really get a lot done extremely fast. If you start using all the shortcuts. All right, here we go. I'm just adding in some kicks first. Just add one more and just duplicate it. Make sure that's good. And now we just duplicate it. So I add the kick first, and then I go in and I'm going to add the percussion. Get a 4-beat loop. And then let's just duplicate it. Now let's go. I'm just going to loop this part right here so that I can. I'm going to go in and look for some bachata percussions that I can add on top to make the transition smoothly, since I'm going to use the original song of Aventura. So let's just percussion loops. Let's go here. I want something that sounds. Let's hear it. Another cool feature about the Studio One that I like is the fact that it plays automatically on beat with whatever you're previewing. So you can hit play and then preview what you have in your browser to see how it fits, and you can play. It'll speed it up or slow it down depending on the project that you're working on, which is really cool. So it's gonna make it nice and simple. I'm not gonna go too crazy with it. So we're gonna go back and find the Aventuras track, my folder where I had all my stuff, and where are you? drag it in. Tell the software that's 125. So obviously the kick is a little too loud. So now is where all the blending starts, so that you can, the kick is going to be under there, but you're not really going to notice it's under there because it's not really part of bachata. They don't really add kicks like that, at least not that loud. So let's start adjusting the level. So here's where we're going to finish, and what I'm going to do also is play the kick exactly how that fill-in is, so that it sounds similar. So we're just going to scroll down here. So we have a hit there, hit there. Just kind of play them side by side so that you need a kick there. So that just gives a little bit more of that blending feeling, so that, if that feeling is originally there, then you want to make sure that you keep it that way. So we don't really alter the original song. I could do a quick little just fill-in, kick fill-in. This is just sort of the fine tuning to make things kind of transition smoothly. Every DJ might do it differently. I'm just gonna go in and EQ that kick a little bit because it sounds a little too bright. Just go in and tweak it. Take a little bit of the high. And now I could even take just that intro guitar and sample it in on that fill-in. We'll bring it in even before that. Now all this sampling is basically just cut, copy, paste. It's not something that a lot of people think it's rocket science. It's really simple. That's probably the 3 things that you need to learn if you want to start editing is, cut, copy, paste, because you're gonna end up using it a lot to sample things in and out. And that right there, with just a simple delay, we can call it a day. Just bypass the delay so it doesn't go on the whole track. I'm actually going to remove that last kick. So, what I was saying about the libraries of sound that come with Studio One, this is really one of the things. Like, I just put, crash, and it gives me a whole bunch of different crash cymbals. Sometimes I'll copy the one that I already used. I'll use another one depending on. Alright, so we're gonna add that. This is what I call the frosting. If we're making a cake, this is the frosting on the cake. So, esta es la crema. You don't want to put them too loud because then it sounds really, really kind of out of place. So let's hear what we have so far coming out of Daddy Yankee. So I'm still not happy with the kick, and one of the cool things is that I could just go in and change it. And because Studio One has so many libraries of kicks and stuff like that, I usually look for the old kits like the 909. Usually those kicks will work. So I just type in 909 and I get all the 909 stuff. Just the 909 kick. Okay, so that first one I like, so we're just going to drag it in. And let's listen to it now. Basically what I'm doing is just kind of giving a little bit of the thumb, but it's not really in your face. So let's keep it going. Now we're going to go all the way to the end of Aventura. So this one's pretty simple because it gives you that a cappella loop that we can go in and use to transition into Prince Royce. So Prince Royce is 126. I'm going to add that in. Line it up to the grid. And Prince Royce, it even gives you, if you listen to it by itself, So it gives you like a little bit of a pre-roll, and you can use that to go and kind of transition into it. So here I'm using the 2 original songs, nothing pre-edited. Alright, so let's split. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sample the Aventura, the I Don't Need No Love part, so that
Virus database has been updated.
my VAS has been updated. You see, I keep my antivirus on. Even though they say you shouldn't, but I do. Alright, so I'm going to drag this down to a new channel so I can tweak it out. I'm going to add a delay. And then we're going to sample it. So I'm working on a 1/16 grid, and I can just duplicate, sample, and move things around without having. It's always going to be on beat. What I like to do is just change it up when I repeat it, so it doesn't sound so much like a loop. Change it up here a little bit. Now we can just basically duplicate the whole thing from here.
Anoche soñé yo.
I'm just adding a little bit of EQ, cutting down the low end. We can go back and just look for a nice one of the sweepers that we used before to kind of just smooth it out and have it transition in. It's a little loud, so we can turn it down. We can use that crash that we used before also. That's basically, that's it. I mean, right now it's just going back in and adding, lasers here and there, adding my drops. And on the final master out, what I usually do is just add a limiter, just so we don't, and I just put it at 0 limiting so that we don't get any clipping or anything like that. But because we're working with mostly mastered music, you just kind of keep everything nice and even. Once I'm done, I export the mix down, call it a name, and one of the cool things about Studio One is you can upload right to SoundCloud. So you're able to get this mix on my SoundCloud. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, you could always hit me up, djcreme.net. Follow me on Twitter at DJ Creme, Instagram all of that. You know what it is, baby. La crema mezcla. I'm out.